The ones we don't forget ain't always the ones who stay. Some moved north for better work, some just slowly drifted away. Some names don't cross my lips much, but they still know where to go when an old song starts playing or the evening turns back home. There was Billy with a red truck, there was James with a worn-out hat, there was Tommy throwing fastballs behind the school out back. There was a booth at Miller's Diner where we all swore we'd be more than this little town could hold us, and those same old grocery store doors. The ones we don't forget still walk through memory, still laugh the way they used to, still look 17. And time can change the faces, life can move the pieces left, but the heart keeps the table for the ones we don't forget. We were young and talking big with no money in our hands, making plans beside the river like the world would understand. We didn't know how roads divide, we didn't know how years can bend. We just thought Friday night would last and everybody stayed your friend. Now I hear about them sometimes through a cousin or a name. Some got kids in different counties, some don't come around again. Some are doing better, some are barely getting by, some are only in old pictures with the sun still in their eyes. The ones we don't forget still walk through memory, still laugh the way they used to, still look 17. And time can change the faces, life can move the pieces left, but the heart keeps a table for the ones we don't forget. Maybe friendship has no ending, maybe it just changes rooms, from front seats and ball fields to old stories coming through. Maybe growing older means you learn this quiet truth: some people leave your daily life but never leave your youth. The ones we don't forget still ride those county roads, still stand beneath the scoreboard, still talk like we don't know how fast the whole thing passes, how far the years can get. But some names stay beside us, the ones we don't forget. The ones we don't forget, the ones we don't forget. Some names stay beside us, the ones we don't forget. Old friends at the diner, in the booth beside the wall, 4 cups of coffee cooling, nobody rich at all. We'd sit there after midnight with the whole town sleeping down, talking like the world was waiting just outside that little town. Ray had plans for Texas, Joe was saving for a car, Eddie swore he'd make the big leagues if his shoulder healed by fall. I had nothing but a paycheck and a heart too young to know that the best years sometimes happen before they ever start to show. Old friends at the diner, years went different places, but they ain't gone completely. I still see us there together, old friends at the diner. The waitress knew our orders before we even sat. 2 black coffees, 1 with cream and fries for all of us to grab. There were napkins full of phone numbers. There were jokes we told too loud. There were dreams scratched in the sugar that life later washed out. Now the sign outside is faded and the menu's changed its face. There's a young crowd in the corner sitting in our old place. I don't blame them for not knowing what that table used to hold. Every town gives youth a room before it lets them go. Old friends at the diner, still laughing in my mind, still leaning on that table like we had all kinds of time. And the years went different places, but they ain't gone completely. I still see us there together, old friends at the diner. Maybe friendship doesn't vanish when the phone calls disappear. Maybe it just waits in places that remember us clear. Maybe every coffee stain and every worn out vinyl seat keeps a little bit of who we were when life was still a street. Old friends at the diner, still young beneath the light, still talking over coffee on a long gone Friday night. And I don't need those years returned to know they matter deeply. I still save a place in memory for old friends at the diner. Old friends at the diner. I still save a place in memory for old friends at the diner. Names carved in the bleachers behind the old school field, cut deep with pocket knives like time would have to yield. Billy put his name there right beside mine, said someday we'll come back here and laugh about old times. The paint was already peeling, the boards were rough and gray. We sat there every Friday, watching half our youth play. There were headlights by the fence line, there were jackets in the cold, and every dream we talked about was too young to know it's old. Names carved in the bleachers, still holding on somehow to the boys we used to be and the friends I think of now. And life took us different places, like everybody said it would, but our names are still together in that old school wood. Tommy carved a crooked heart with Jenny's name inside. They lasted through that winter, then took 2 different lives. Ray rode Texas by July and left before the fall. I don't know if he found it, but I hope he found it all. I walked back there this evening when the field was empty green. The scoreboard looked much smaller than it did at 17. But when I touched those letters, half hidden by the years, I could hear us laughing like we were still sitting there. Names carved in the bleachers, still holding on somehow to the boys we used to be and the friends I think of now. And life took us different places, like everybody said it would, but our names are still together in that old school wood. Maybe every small town keeps a place where youth stays near, not alive the way it was, but still close enough to hear. Maybe all we really wanted back when we carved those lines was to leave a little proof we were young at the same time. Names carved in the bleachers, still weathered, still there, with the dust of old ball games and the sound of county air. I don't need to be that young, I don't need the whole thing back, but I'm glad we left our names where the old days overlap. Names carved in the bleachers, names carved in the bleachers. I'm glad we left our names in those old school bleachers. The river where we learned to drive ran slow behind the mill, past the gravel road and cattle gate and the old tobacco field. Ray would sit beside me with one hand on the dash, saying easy on the clutch now, then laughing when we crashed. Not crashed into anything, just stalled out in the clay, with the engine coughing hard and our pride getting in the way. We were 16, maybe younger, old enough to think we knew how to handle any road ahead if we had gas enough to move. The river where we learned to drive still bends around my mind, with dust behind the tires and forever on our side. We didn't know how far we'd go or how fast years divide, back when we were young together by the river where we learned to drive. Tommy brought his daddy's pickup, Billy brought a case of Cokes. Somebody had a pocket knife, somebody told bad jokes. We took turns at the wheel there, going slow around the bend, like every mile of that dirt road was teaching us to be men. There were dragonflies on the water, there was heat above the hood. There were songs on AM radio that never sounded so good. And nobody talked about leaving, nobody said someday. We just threw rocks in the river and let the evening fade away. The river where we learned to drive still bends around my mind, with dust behind the tires and forever on our side. We didn't know how far we'd go or how fast years divide, back when we were young together by the river where we learned to drive. Some of us went north for work, some stayed close to home. Some names only come around when old stories get told. But every friend I had back then still rides somewhere inside, on that road beside the water where we learned to drive. The river where we learned to drive still keeps that summer bright, still holds the sound of all of us laughing in the fading light. And I don't need the years return to know they're still alive in the dust, the wheels, the river where we learned to drive. The river where we learned to drive. The river where we learned to drive. We were young together by the river where we learned to drive. Friday nights behind the feed store, where the gravel lot ran wide. 3 old trucks and 1 bad radio, playing through the summer night. We had Cokes and paper sacks there, and dust on every boot, talking big about tomorrow, like tomorrow owed us truth. Billy leaned against the tailgate with his cap pulled down low. Tommy said he'd leave by August. Ray said, man, you'll never go. I was laughing with the rest of them, too young to understand that boys can sound like brothers before life makes them men. Friday nights behind the feed store still shine in my mind, with headlights on the gravel and all the world to find. We didn't have much money, but we had time to burn, and I still hear us laughing where the old roads turn. There were girls from 2 towns over, driving slow past the sign. There were jokes nobody remembers, but we laughed until we cried. The owner never ran us off, just locked the front way, like he knew that little parking lot was where young hearts learned to stay. Now the feed store sign is faded, and the lot has weeds grown through, Somebody paved the shoulder where our trucks once made it loose. I don't know where all the boys are, not the way I used to know, but I still see them standing in that old yellow glow. Friday nights behind the feed store still shine in my mind. The headlights on the gravel and all the world to find. We didn't have much money, but we had time to burn, and I still hear us laughing where the old roads turn. Some friends leave without leaving, some stay without a call. Some names get carried quietly through the changes of us all. And maybe youth is just a place you visit in a song, a gravel lot, a feed store light, and friends who still belong. Friday nights behind the feed store still hold what we were, before the miles got longer, before the years occurred. I don't need that whole life back, but there's one thing I'm sure, part of me is still out there behind the old feed store. Friday nights behind the feed store. Friday nights behind the feed store. Part of me is still out there behind the old feed store. The photograph in my wallet has been folded more than twice. The corners lost their color and the faces lost some light, but I still know every shoulder, every grin and every name. 5 boys beside a pickup before the years all changed. Billy had his arm around me, Ray was looking at the ground, Tommy held a bottle he was too young to carry round. Eddie wore that ball cap with the bill bent way too wide, and I was standing in the middle like the world was on our side. The photograph in my wallet still keeps us all that young, before the miles got heavy, before the leaving had begun. And I don't take it out much, but I know right where it stays, a little piece of who we were that time can't take away. I found it cleaning drawers once, nearly threw it in a box. Then I saw that old feed store and the truck behind us parked. There was dust across the bumper, there was sunset in the glass, there was friendship in that picture that I didn't know would pass. Some of those boys still call me, some I haven't seen in years. Some names come up at funerals, some through somebody's tears. But inside that worn out leather, they're not scattered, tired or gone, they're still leaning on each other in a summer almost song. The photograph in my wallet still keeps us all that young. Before the miles got heavy, before the leaving had begun. And I don't take it out much, but I know right where it stays. A little piece of who we were that time can't take away. Maybe friendship leaves a picture when it can't leave a plan. Maybe growing older means you hold what fits your hand. A faded square of paper, a truck, a field, a sky, and the proof that once we stood there all together in one life. The photograph in my wallet still rides with me today, through every town I pass through and every road I take. I don't need the past return to know those boys were true. I just keep them close and quiet, like old friends sometimes do. The photograph in my wallet,
photograph in my wallet, I keep them close and quiet,
like old friends sometimes do. We could fill up any street with a half-tune radio and dust around our feet. We'd park behind the diner or down by Carter's Field, talking over one another like every word was real. Tommy had a laugh that could wake the whole town square. Ray would start an argument just to keep us there. Billy knew the back roads better than the law allowed, and I was just happy standing where the boys were young and loud. When we were young and loud, the nights could not get old. Every joke was worth repeating, every story turned to gold. And we didn't know that time had already found the crowd. We just kept on laughing when we were young and loud. There were trucks with cracked up speakers, there were caps thrown in the air, there were plans made after midnight that went mostly nowhere. But nowhere felt like something when your friends were by your side. A gravel lot could be the whole world under one good summer sky. Now I hear that kind of laughter from some young boys passing by, and it makes me smile a little more than it makes me cry. They don't know they're making memories, they just think they're killing time. Same as we did back then, with the whole night open wide. When we were young and loud, the nights could not get old. Every joke was worth repeating, every story turned to gold. And we didn't know that time had already found the crowd. We just kept on laughing when we were young and loud. Some friends turn into phone calls, some turn into names, some stay in old stories that never sound the same. But there's a part of every man that never settles down, still riding with the windows open, young and loud. When we were young and loud, I still hear us sometimes in a song from a passing truck or a voice across the line. I don't need to live it over, I just like knowing how the whole world once felt bigger when we were young and loud. When we were young and loud. Young and loud, the whole world once felt bigger when we were young and loud.
The friend who never came home left one morning before light, with a duffel in the back seat and his mama trying not to cry. He said he'd call by Sunday, said he wouldn't be gone long. We all stood there joking like nothing could go wrong. He had a laugh like gravel and a way of talking fast. I always said this little town was too small for him to last. We watched him pass the feed store, watched his taillights hit the hill, and for a while we all believed he'd come back laughing still. The friend who never came home still rides in memory, still young beneath the ball cap, still wild and 17. And I don't know where life took him or what roads made him roam, but part of us stayed waiting for the friend who never came home. Some heard he went to Dallas, some said Tennessee, some said he found good money working rigs out by the sea. A postcard came one winter with no return address, said tell the boys I missed them, and we never heard the rest. His name still comes up sometimes when the old crowd gets around. Somebody says, remember when, and the whole room settles down. Not because we lost him fully, not because we know the end, but because some kinds of leaving take more than just a friend. The friend who never came home still rides in memory, still young beneath the ball cap, still wild and 17. And I don't know where life took him or what roads made him roam, but part of us stayed waiting for the friend who never came home. Maybe he changed his name. Maybe he tells his children about the boys from where he came. Maybe he thinks of us sometimes when some old country song finds the part he left behind on the road he took too long. The friend who never came home still has a chair with us in every Kleiner story, in every cloud of county dust. And I don't need an answer, I don't need the whole thing known. Some friends stay young forever when they never make it home. The friend who never came home. The friend who never came home. Some friends stay young forever when they never make it home.
Coffee for the empty chair at the table by the wall. I don't know why I ordered two. Guess old habits don't ask at all. The waitress didn't say much, just set it down with care, like she knew some kind of story was sitting with me there. That chair belonged to Eddie when the nights ran long and wide. He leaned back like he owned the place with trouble in his eyes. Ray would take the corner, Billy talked too loud, and I'd swear we never scattered like the smoke above that crowd. Coffee for the empty chair, for the friends who can't be here, for the names still warm in memory after all these years. And I don't call it lonely, not every time I stare. Sometimes love just sits there quiet. Coffee for the empty chair. Some left town for better wages, some got married, some got tired, some burned bright a little while, then slipped out of the fire. Some still call on birthdays, some I haven't seen since spring. Some live only in the stories that one old table brings. There's a ring left on the surface where the cup sat cooling down, like a little moon of coffee in a quiet corner of town. I could drink it, I could leave it, either way it's just the same. It ain't really for the coffee, it's for speaking someone's name. Coffee for the empty chair, for the friends who can't be here, for the names still warm in memory after all these years. And I don't call it lonely, not every time I stare. Sometimes love just sits there quiet. Coffee for the empty chair. Maybe friendship has a table even after people go. Maybe every empty seat still holds the shape we know. Maybe getting older means you learn to leave one place for every laugh that saved you, for every mess and face. Coffee for the empty chair. I raise my cup tonight to the boys who made me younger in another kind of light. I don't need the past return, I just need it handled fair, so I keep one place remembered. Coffee for the empty chair. Coffee for the empty chair. Coffee for the empty chair. I keep one place remembered. Coffee for the empty chair. County fair summers out past the baseball field. Ferris wheel turning slowly over dust and cotton mills. We'd park behind the stock barns where the grass was worn and dry. 5 old friends with ticket stubs and whole lives in our eyes. Billy won a pocket knife at a booth that leaned too far. Ray spent all his paycheck trying to win a stuffed guitar. Tommy talked to every girl like he had some secret plan, and I just walked there laughing with a Coke can in my hand. County fair summers still shine after dark, in the lights above the midway and the dust behind the car. We didn't know we'd miss them, we just thought they'd last forever. Old friends, young hearts, county fair summers. There were rides that shook like thunder. There were songs from far off stages. There were names written on wrists and folded dollar wages. The whole town smelled like kettle corn, diesel smoke and rain. And every August evening felt like life had learned our names. Now the fairground looks much smaller when I pass it every year. Different kids beneath the same lights, different laughter in the air. But if I stand there by the fence line when the sun starts going down, I can still see all the boys there moving through that crowd. County fair summers still shine after dark, in the lights above the midway and the dust behind the car. We didn't know we'd miss them, we just thought they'd last forever. Old friends, young hearts, county fair summers. Maybe youth is like those fair lights, burning bright and gone too soon. Maybe friendship is the music that still plays beneath the moon. Maybe all those little summers didn't really disappear. They just wait behind the midway for one song this time of year. County fair summers still come back warm and clear, with the sound of all my old friends laughing somewhere near. And I don't need the year's return to know we had our weather. Dusty roads, bright lights, county fair summers. County fair summers. County fair summers. Oh, friends, young hearts, county fair summers. The last time we all got together, nobody called it that. Just a table by the window and old ball caps on the rack. Billy came in laughing, Ray was running late. Tommy said he'd only stay an hour, then stayed till 8:30. We talked about the old days like men who had survived. Joked about the cars we wrecked and how we're still alive. Somebody brought up Miller's Field, somebody named a girl, and for a little while that diner was the center of the world. The last time we all got together, we didn't know it then. We thought there'd be another night to pass those stories around again. But life don't send a warning when it changes up the weather. We were just old friends laughing the last time we all got together. Eddie had a picture of his grandson on his phone. Joe was talking retirement like it wasn't far from home. I remember coffee cooling and the waitress asking twice if we needed anything more before she killed the lights. Nobody said goodbye too heavy, nobody made a scene. We stood out by the parking lot in that yellow diner gleam. Hands in jacket pockets, engines turning slow. Every man drove off that night down a different road. The last time we all got together, we didn't know it then. We thought there'd be another night to pass those stories round again. But life don't send a warning when it changes up the weather. We were just old friends laughing the last time we all got together. Some moved closer to their children, some got tired, some got sick. Some phone numbers stopped working, some years went by too quick. And I keep thinking of that evening, how ordinary it had seemed, how the last of something precious can pass by quietly. The last time we all got together still sits inside my mind, in a booth full of old stories and faces softened by time. I don't need the night returned, I just wish I'd known it better. How much love was at that table the last time we all got together. The last time we all got together. The last time we all got together. How much love was at that table the last time we all got together. Your laugh still finds me in the strangest little ways, at a counter in a diner, on an ordinary day, when somebody tells a story and leans back like you did. For a second I'm not older, I'm just standing there again. You had a laugh like gravel rolling loose the truck, rough around the edges, but it always lifted us. Could break up a bad silence, could turn a hard night kind, could make a small town parking lot feel like the whole world shine. Your laugh still finds me through the years and through the noise. Still sounds like summer evenings in a row of reckless boys. And I don't hear it every day, but when it comes easy, like a door left open somewhere. Your laugh still finds me. I don't remember all the reasons we laughed until we cried. Probably nothing worth repeating, probably something dumb and loud. But I remember how it felt to have friends on every side, like life could not get too heavy if we kept that sound alive. Now some of us are scattered, some are hard to recognize, some carry quiet troubles behind older careful lies. But every now and then, when a joke lands just right, I hear you in the middle of it, bringing back the night. Your laugh still finds me through the years and through the noise. Still sounds like summer evenings in a row of reckless boys. And I don't hear it every day, but when it comes easy, like a door left open somewhere. Your laugh still finds me. Maybe friendship leaves an echo in the rooms we used to fill. Maybe some sounds keep living when the people can't stand still. Maybe that's why I smile first before the missing settles in. Because for one clear little moment, you're my old friend again. Your laugh still finds me, not to hurt me, not to stay, just to warm some corner of a half-forgotten day. And I don't need the years back, I don't need what used to be, I just thank the sound that brings you when your laugh still finds me.
Your laugh still finds me.
Your laugh still finds me. I just thank the sound that brings you. Your laugh still finds me. The ball cap on the dashboard was faded in the sun. Red dirt in the stitching and the bill all bent and worn. You left it in my pickup one night behind the store. Said I'll get it back tomorrow, then tomorrow never formed. It rode with us through summers, past the river, past the field, through every gravel shortcut and every teenage wheel. Wore it like a crown back then, pulled low above your eyes, laughing at the whole wide world like it couldn't change our lives. The ball cap on the dashboard still rides beside me now, through the miles that took us older, through the roads that spread us out. And I don't know why I keep it, but I never throw it down. That old cap still knows your laughter on the dashboard faded brown. There's a stain from county fair dust, there's a tear along the side, there's a little mark from fish hooks from some riverbank July. I've had newer trucks since that one had newer roads to run, but somehow that old ball cap always finds the morning sun. I heard you moved out westward, heard you had yourself 2 boys, heard you don't talk much about here or the old small town noise. It's alright, we all keep living best as any grown man can. Some part of you stayed with me in that cap above the dash. The ball cap on the dashboard still rides beside me now, through the miles that took us older, through the roads that spread us out. And I don't know why I keep it, but I never throw it down. That old cap still knows your laughter on the dashboard faded brown. Maybe friendship has a way of staying small and true, in a thing somebody left behind before the years came through. Maybe every man keeps something that the world would never see, not because it's worth much money, but because it used to breathe. The ball cap on the dashboard still catches evening light, like a little piece of young days that never said goodbye. And I don't need to call you to know what we had found. Some friends ride on forever on the dashboard faded brown. The ball cap on the dashboard, the ball cap on the dashboard. Some friends ride on forever on the dashboard faded brown. Back when time was cheap, we spent it like spare change, on parking lots and river roads and talking in the rain. We'd lean against old pickups till the stars came out to see. A bunch of small town boys, back when time was cheap. Nobody checked a wristwatch, nobody had to go. We had nowhere worth being and no reason to move slow. But slow is how we took it, like the night belonged to us, with a radio in the window and our boots kicked in the dust. Back when time was cheap, we didn't know its worth. We threw it into summer nights like coins into the dirt. Now I'd pay most anything for one more hour to keep with all my old friends laughing. Back when time was cheap, we wasted whole damn evenings just deciding where to drive, then ended up behind the diner feeling lucky to be alive. Somebody told the same joke, somebody sang off key, and nobody thought tomorrow would come collecting what was free. Now the days run shorter and the years don't ask permission. There's work and bills and families and old friends you keep missing. I don't blame the living, that's just how the seasons turn. But youth don't tell you anything about what you'll later learn. Back when time was cheap, we didn't know its worth. We threw it into summer nights like coins into the dirt. Now I'd pay most anything for one more hour to keep with all my old friends laughing. Back when time was cheap. Maybe time was never cheap. Maybe we were just too young to know that ordinary nights would be the golden ones. Maybe friendship is the change life leaves inside your hand. A few bright coins of memory from when you were a young man. Back when time was cheap, still shines behind my eyes, in the dust behind the feed store and the old fairground lights. I don't need to spend it over, I just hold it carefully. Those rich and careless evenings, back when time was cheap. Back when time was cheap. Whoa. Back when time was cheap. Those rich and careless evenings, back when time was cheap. Small town boys don't say goodbye, not the way the movies do. They just kick the gravel once and say I'll catch up with you. They slap a hand on the tailgate, they look down at their boots, they laugh about some old thing keep from telling truth. Ray left after harvest, Tommy joined his uncle's crew. Billy married young, stayed there like he always said he'd do. Nobody made a speech that night behind the feed store light. We just stood around pretending it was any other Friday night. Small town boys don't say goodbye, they say don't be a stranger. They say drive safe if you're leaving, they say call me later. But years can stretch a county road till no one knows just why. Old friends drift into memory, small town boys don't say goodbye. We were raised on working hands and fathers who stayed quiet, men who felt the heavier things but never named them right. So when the time came for leaving, we did what we'd seen done, swallowed down the softer words and talked about the sun. Now I wish I'd said it better, wish I'd held that moment still, wish I'd told them they were brothers and the only way boys feel. But maybe they all knew it, maybe that was undone. understood, in the way we stood there silent like old friends sometimes should. Small town boys don't say goodbye. They say don't be a stranger. They say drive safe if you're leaving. They say call me later. But years can stretch a county road till no one knows just why. Old friends drift into memories. Small town boys don't say goodbye. Some goodbyes wear Sunday suits. Some goodbyes fall apart. Ours were made of engine noise and hands over the heart. Some men never learn the words for what their friendships mean. They just carry every missing name where no one else can see. Small town boys don't say goodbye. They just grow older slowly. They keep a place for old friends and stories told lowly. And if I could go back tonight, beneath that feed store sky, I'd say what we were scared to say. Small town boys don't say goodbye.
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 I'd say what we were scared to say. Small town boys don't say goodbye. The yearbook page was folded where the old crowd used to be. A row of crooked haircuts and boys too young to see how fast the world was coming, how far the roads would run. We just smiled for the camera like the hard part hadn't begun. Ray wrote "Don't Forget Me" with a joke beside his name. Tommy signed it twice somehow, like he was always playing games. Billy drew a pickup truck in the corner by my face, and Eddie wrote "See you next fall" like nobody'd leave that place. The yearbook page still keeps us standing there, with cheap ties and borrowed jackets and too much county air. And I don't need those days back, but it hits me strange how young we all still look on the yearbook page. There were teachers in the hallways, there were lockers painted blue, there were plans made after graduation that half of us outgrew. Some boys joined the working world, some boys chased the line. Some found trouble early, some just ran out of time. I found it in a cardboard box with old ribbons and report cards, a ticket from a home game and dust from years gone hard. I laughed at what we wrote there, then I had to sit a while, because every faded signature still sounded like a smile. The yearbook page still keeps us standing there, with cheap ties and borrowed jackets and too much county air. And I don't need those days back, but it hits me strange how young we all still look on the yearbook page. Maybe pictures don't tell everything, maybe ink can't hold the truth, but it kept one honest moment from the middle of our youth, before the leaving sky became stories. We were all still there. The yearbook page still turns the years around, still brings back all those voices from a half-forgotten town. And I don't ask where time went, I just let it pass through every name still written beside that senior class.
The yearbook page. The yearbook page. Every name still written on the yearbook page.
Where the old crowd went, nobody really knows. Not all at once, not loudly, and just down different roads. One took work in Memphis, one stayed close to the farm. One got tired of this town, and one got tired of being strong. There was no last meeting, no final Friday night. No one stood beneath the street lamp saying, boys, this is goodbye. We just missed a couple weekends, and a month turned into 10. And somewhere in the middle, the old crowd became back then. Where the old crowd went is somewhere time don't show. In the jobs and kids and highways, in the years that make men old. And I still hear their voices when the evening starts to bend, but I can't quite put my finger on where the old crowd went. Ray quit calling after winter, Billy sold his Chevrolet. Tommy's mama said he moved south, but she didn't say what state. Eddie stayed around the longest, till the plant shut down in June. Then even he got quiet, like a song that left too soon. I see pieces of them sometimes in a Cadillac truck, in a boy outside the diner who reminds me some of us. But the table don't fill up now like it used to after dark, and the parking lot feels bigger without those same old hearts. Where the old crowd went is somewhere time don't show. In the jobs and kids and highways, in the years that make men old. I still hear their voices when the evening starts to bend, but I can't quite put my finger on where the old crowd went. Maybe friendship doesn't break, maybe it just spreads too wide across county lines and mortgages and lives we had to try. Maybe every old crowd lives in one place memory keeps, where nobody's grown older and nobody had to leave. Where the old crowd went, I may never fully know, but I keep them in the dust light of the roads we used to roll. And if some night they think of me like I think of them now and then, maybe we're not lost completely. Where the old crowd went.
Where the old crowd went.
Somebody says, do you recall? And the years begin to fall, like dust off an old record, like light through diner glass. And every face around me turns younger than it has. Remember when Ray Chevy wouldn't start behind the store, and we pushed it down the back road till we couldn't breathe no more. Remember Tommy's fastball, remember Billy's fight, remember how the fairground looked on that first August night. One more round of remember when, pass the old days round again, pour them out like coffee for every missing friend. And we don't need the years back, we don't need to know just when. We only need each other and one more round of remember when. Some stories grow taller, some details come apart, some names get said more softly because they still touch the heart. But nobody corrects much, nobody keeps the score. The truth is in the laughing, not the way it was before. There's mercy in old stories when the present feels too thin. They let a man sit down a while with who we used to be again. Not to live there, not to hide there, not to wish the road would turn, just to warm his hands a little by the fires that still burn. One more round of remember when, pass the old days round again, pour them out like coffee for every missing friend. And we don't need the years back, we don't need to know just when. We only need each other and one more round of remember when. Maybe memory is a table where old friends still appear, pulling chairs from out of silence, bringing laughter through the years. Maybe growing older means you learn what stories do. They keep the lost ones near us and the living grateful too. One more round of remember when, before the night wears thin, before the chairs go quiet and the old lights fade again. I don't need forever, just that feeling now and then. Old friends all together for one more round of remembering. Some names stay young forever, no matter how the years go by. Still wearing faded denim, still laughing at the sky. Still standing by the bleachers, still leaning on a truck. Still talking like tomorrow was waiting there for us. I see them in old pictures with the sun across their face. Before the jobs and leaving, before the world found its way. Ray still has his ball cap, Tommy still throws hard, Billy's still beside the river, skipping stones out past the yard. Some names stay young forever in the back roads of the mine, still running through the summer, still racing borrowed time. And life can change the faces, but memory knows better. Old friends grow old in living, but some names stay young forever. I heard one name last winter from a man I barely knew. Said he'd seen him down in Georgia with family and new boots. I smiled like I was happy, and I was in a way. But the friend I knew was still 16 on some long-gone August day. That's a strange thing about old friends. You can love who they became while still keeping one bright version that the years can't rearrange. Not because you won't move forward, not because you can't let go, but because some parts of friendship stay where they first learned to grow. Some names stay young forever in the back roads of the mine, still running through the summer, still racing borrowed time. And life could change the faces, but memory knows better. Old friends grow old in living, but some names stay young forever. Maybe time keeps everybody, but it don't keep every life. Some laughter stays unweathered, some eyes stay Friday night. Maybe every heart protects a few old names from time, so the people who once saved us never fully lose their shine. Some names stay young forever, and I hold them soft and clear, not as ghosts, not as sorrow, just as friends who still feel near. I don't need the old days back, I just keep one truth together. Years may take the road from us, but some names stay young forever.
Some names stay young forever.
Some names stay young forever. Years may take the road from us, but some names stay young forever.
The roads that took us apart didn't look like much back then, just county lines and highways and places past the bend. One road led to wages, one road led to war, one led to a woman, one don't come around no more. We all started from the same place with dust on our shoes, same diner, same ball field, same Friday night news. We thought leaving was a story we'd all come back to tell, but some roads keep on going past the sound of the old church bell. The roads that took us apart still run through my heart, past the feed store and the river,
past the old schoolyard. And I don't blame the distance, life just does what it will. The roads that took us apart still know us together still. Ray went chasing overtime, Tommy went chasing sun, Billy stayed near his people, and Eddie just kept moving on. I took my share of wrong turns, some I'll never understand, but every road I ever followed still began with those old friends. There's a picture in my wallet, there are names cut in wood, there's a ball cap on the dashboard that I never moved for good. There's an empty chair at coffee, there's a laugh I still can hear. There are boys who don't say goodbye, but somehow disappear. The roads that took us apart still run through my heart, past the feed store and the river, past the old schoolyard. And I don't blame the distance, life just does what it will. The roads that took us apart still know us together still. Maybe friendship ain't a place where everybody stays. Maybe it's the light we carry from our younger days. Maybe every scattered mile still holds a common star, and every old friend travels some road inside your heart. The roads that took us apart can't take away the years, can't take the nights behind the diner, can't take the laughter clear. I don't need the whole crowd back to know we left a mark. We were young on the same roads before they took us apart. The roads that took us apart, the roads that took us apart. We were young on the same road before they took us apart.